Online with me from New York, after having spent several days in Cleveland covering this horrific story, is Zoraida Sambolin from CNN. Zoraida, thank you so much for joining the Rock Newman Show.
My pleasure, Rock. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Zoraida, I'm just going to ask you if you would give us a sense of the community, of the horror, with your having been there the last few days, collecting information, covering the story from top to bottom, every angle. Can you just please explain to us what that community is going through, your sense of how the girls are, how the ladies are? Just please let us know what you saw and what you feel about what has happened in that tragic situation.
You know, I have to tell you, Rock, that horror is one of the words, but jubilation is another one. Amazement is another word to describe what happened. You know, everybody expected these girls to never be found alive again. And so I would say that the first emotion that they were feeling was elation, shock, surprise, but they were celebrating, a celebration that was just remarkable. Horror, as the details have started to emerge. But, you know, this is a community that is a very tight-knit community. A lot of Hispanics in the community, a lot of African Americans in the community, and they've suffered for a lot of years because there have been a lot of kidnappings. You know, as I walked around and I said, listen, what's the biggest problem here? What I consistently heard was rape and kidnappings. And that was mostly the women talking. But, you know, they have a strong sense of family in that community. They guard their children very much. They hold them very close to the vest. Family values are very important. And so, you know, a lot of folks went in and out of this home, and a lot of the family members, and there is a great sense of remorse. You know, they're going over in their minds, what did I miss? Did I miss anything? Was there any moment that, you know, maybe I saw something or I heard something and I just didn't react to it? So the family members, that Castro, the family in that community, Castro is a very prominent family in that community. And so when the councilman, I talked to the councilman, and he said, when I found out it was the Castro family, I was shocked because these are the pillars of the community. So that sense of bewilderment, like how could this possibly happen? And how could it happen for 10 years and for us to not even know that it was going on? The musicians that came in and out of that house, they're all sitting there just wondering, could I have done something? So that remorse is something that they really feel there as well, Rock.
Zoraida, I have in studio with me the hero in this situation, one of them, Charles Ramsey. Charles, I want to ask you, Zoraida just said, you know, folks say that there's a high incident of rape and kidnapping in the neighborhood and community. Now, you've been there basically, I think I heard you say just a year.
Right.
Were you aware of any higher incident? Did you sort of feel that as a member of that community? Did you have knowledge of, I guess just from the reports, that sort of thing, that's how people felt that, you know, that the community was being victimized by these rapes and kidnappings?
Oh, yeah. When this story came out 10 years ago, I mean, you know, it blew my mind. And I was living on the east side of Cleveland. But it's not no... It's not no...
Excuse me a second, because this is live radio, and we have a live audience, and I'm going to ask the live audience to please do not say anything. Please don't talk, because you're interrupting this show. So don't do that, please, live audience. Thank you.
It's not that the Hispanic community has got a high rate of rape and kidnap. No, they don't. Because in the white community, it's the same quota. In the black community, it's the same quota. It just so happened that in this case, it was a Hispanic that did this crime. You know what I mean? So it's not like that neighborhood is just a hellhole to live in. No, man, we're talking about if you were around a different culture, like Hispanics, you like, and I learned. See, these people are proud, and they don't mind coming outside and going to work. And they don't mind helping the next door neighbor. They don't mind walking your kid to school. And then when your kid get out, when you still at work, don't worry about it. They come to my house. You know what I mean?
So there's a real you felt a real sense of community and a real sense of long before this here, because you came into town with several friends.
With my crew.
Yeah,
and ain't now one of them Afro-American.
With your crew.
None of them.
And just by looking at them, I don't like to generalize at all, but I guess they're Hispanic in nature. I don't know.
100%.
I don't know, from a Mexican.
From Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, the Dominican, whatever.
No. See, that island, we going to blow up.
So your crew
they
here.
from Puerto Rico.
Your crew here, all your brothers here are Puerto Rican.
Every one of them.
Okay. So
you got to understand why they got my back. Because, see, a black person that came out of nowhere and then helped some Spanish folks out. You know how I helped them out? Tomorrow, Mother's Day, ain't it? Sure it is. I know 3 mamas that for 10 years been sad. Not tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
It's 4th of July.
They'll be real happy tomorrow. Zoraida, tell us, please. This I'm not gonna say alleged. I'm gonna say this monster. I don't know if that gets me in some sort of legal trouble in radio land, but I'm gonna say
I'll get you out of it.
Okay, this monster. Tell us what he faces, and I know that you guys had some exclusive interviews. CNN had some exclusive interviews with the daughter. Can you talk to us about, how his family is reacting and what he faces from the justice system now?
Well, I can tell you from the family's perspective, there was an exclusive on CNN. One of our reporters, Lori Siegel, actually talked to one of the daughters, and one of the daughters that is probably the closest to her dad, and, had just spent a lot of time with him. And what she said was that, he was a doting grandfather and a loving father. And so she's having a very hard time reconciling this. But she said, and this is really the sentiment of the entire Castro family so far, at least the ones that I've spoken to, that this is unforgivable. What strikes me, Rock, is that Gina de Jesus' family has gone on national television and they have said that they will forgive, but that they will not forget. And you see Castro's own family going on national television saying, we cannot forgive. What you have done is unforgivable. And it is allegations of these crimes that he's committed. He's entitled to due process just like anyone else is. But the family, as these details are coming out, and as you see this diary that he kept and, allegedly kept and wrote for years, how he blames the girls for getting into the car, that it was their fault. These things are just unforgivable to the family members. And, he's going to face his due process. There was, at least yesterday, when I was leaving Cleveland, the potentiality of him facing more crimes. And under Ohio law, what is that going to mean? Because the young lady that was released from the hospital yesterday, Michelle Knight, the allegations there are horrific. That, she was pregnant 5 times, that he starved her and beat her in order for her to miscarry. So, at the end of the day, they're going through their due process. They're trying to figure out if there are more charges that will be brought against him, and if, he could in fact face the death penalty.
When I saw his daughter say that she never wanted to have anything to do with him again, she never wanted to speak with him again. Not that, I want to spend a lot of time or any sort of tears, or certainly don't want to play a violin for what I'm calling that monster. But I just thought about that family trauma. My wife and I once told a godson who was just really like our son. He was in prison, and he was talking to us about, things that he had done. And, we said at one point, look, even if you had killed someone, we would have been horrified and saddened, but we would still love you. So when I saw his daughter say what she said, I really thought how tragic this is in so many different ways.
Family here, Rock. I mean, that daughter had to turn around and tell his grandchildren about what had happened. It took her a long time to actually, sit down and have a conversation with our Lori Siegel. It took her a while. She wanted to gather her thoughts. She wanted to make sure that she was expressing them in a way that made sense. Because at the end of the day, if you look at their mother and you look at the interview that she also gave, this woman is inconsolable because she is beside herself that her son, that these allegations, are there against her son. She is so apologetic. She doesn't know where to even put her face. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like this family is, these folks grew up together. The De Jesus family grew up with the Castro family. These are long ties in the community, and they just don't know what to do. All they can do is sob and apologize.
What was, I've seen reports, I'm sure you know more. This week has been a blur for us as we've tried to put this program together. Tell us about his history with his wife.
Oh, I don't have the, those charges in front of me, but they're pretty horrific, But here's the deal. They were charges that eventually were dropped. It was some serious abuse. There were broken bones, broken ribs, broken nose. I mean, there's just a long line of it. But at the end of the day, when they were supposed to appear before the court, no one showed up, and so the charges were dropped. But, the daughter talked about that. The family members have talked about that. But there are some family members, I have to tell you, Rock, that had absolutely no idea that any of that abuse was going on. They said, they must have kept it close to the vest and not shared it with the rest of the family because the cousin, Maria Castro, who I talked to extensively, she said, I never knew that was happening in their house. We were never aware. Had we known, we would have stepped in. We would have helped. But they just had no idea.
Zoraida, what do you know about how he controlled access to his home? Because there had to be something that he had to conduct himself in a way that was, I would think, was somewhat different than a normal household because he had 3 hostages held there. What do you know about who he allowed in, when he allowed in, how he allowed them in or not?
Well, that's probably, to me, the most baffling part of this. That he allowed anyone into that home is the most baffling part to me, because we keep on hearing, the daughter saying that she walked in. She wanted to go upstairs and, visit her bedroom, the bedroom that she grew up in, and he says, yeah, no, it's a mess up there. I really don't want you to go up there. The basement door that was always locked. The musicians that went in there, not a lot of people. I mean, there were people that went in, but they didn't spend an incredible amount of time inside of the house. We don't have all of the details of that, but that is the most baffling part. Why would you allow somebody into the house when you have these women locked up? And how did you keep them quiet? I mean, there are just so many questions there about that. So we don't have the details. We don't. We know that, the police have found items in the home that suggest that, the girls were in the basement at some point and, but they were upstairs, perhaps kept separately. So we don't have a lot of details, but it is baffling if you hear people talk about, I was in there and, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything unusual.
Yeah.
Had I seen anything, had I heard anything, I would have absolutely called police.
Zoraida, we've come to the top of the hour. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Much love to you and to your lucky fiance, one Mr. Kenny Williams of the Chicago White Sox.
Well, thank you very much. I love the plugs for him. Nice talking to you.
Okay, good talking to you. Folks, we're going to come back in a minute. Zoraida was talking about, we were talking about the house. This gentleman right here lived very nearby, Charles Ramsey. We're going to get into what he knew, what he saw, what he knew of Castro, why he did what he did. We'll continue to examine this ongoing saga, this incredible gut-wrenching drama, this horrific tragedy when we return to the Rock Newman Show after these messages.